political system as it stands in California now has no way to stop it.
Have you ever had a friend turn on you, just completely just stab you in the back? Yeah, we all have, but nothing like this guy has.
These people are all psychopaths or sociopaths.
I've heard a lot of people say that this case has become political. What does political even mean? Political means, if you look it up, it means having to do with the government and public affairs. Safety has to do with public affairs. We've talked about the Manson family members before on here who've had websites. We went over Susan Atkins' website. We mentioned that Charlie Manson had a website, and we also mentioned that Tex Watson has a website. Bobby Beausoleil also has a website too. He has one of the better websites probably. He promotes himself from his movies, from his music, for his artwork, all that stuff. But since this is my website and not Bobby's, I'm here to promote my artwork. This was the map I drew. This is how Bobby took off to get out of California, to free himself after he murdered his friend. This is the finished map. That's what it looks like. Back to clean up the handprints. I could hear the maggots eating Gary, Bobby told Danny. Gary, I drew. I like to take notes. I've always taken notes. I've been investigating things. I've touched a lot of things in this too. That's the difference between me and a lot of people who investigate crimes. I've actually went out and I think I've got one of the gas pedals from a dune buggy. Isn't that cool? That's what I like doing. That's why I made these notes. That's why I drew these pictures. That's why I did this book. Because I found out in life, early in life, people that don't have passion, they don't really make good product, you know? There's a lot of Manson books out and the main reason that they even wrote the book in the first place was for the money of it. That was the only reason. They knew it could make money. I hate that idea. You ever wonder what it looks like down where Gary was murdered at? Where his house was and all those things? You ever wonder if anybody else was murdered along the way? There's a guy here that was murdered along the way that they even contribute to the Manson family. Yeah, he's on my map too. But Gary's house is down in here. You always thought it was on Topanga Canyon, but it's not really on Topanga. This is Topanga Canyon right here. Gary lives off of Topanga Canyon on a road called Old Topanga Canyon. Let's look. Let's drive down it. Let's give you a look. See what it looks like. This was just last month. Back in them days, they did a lot of hitchhiking. Gary lived really close to Malibu. Malibu's down in this area here. Gary lives right up in here. The family used to walk all the way up this, all the way back to Spawn Ranch. It would be quite dark walking up these roads at nighttime, though, don't you think? Hitchhiking? Wow. Says on his website. One of the things he says on his website is he doesn't want his stuff connected to the crimes. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Then you're a nobody. then you're just a nobody. Because the reason anybody even cared, if you bought this picture off of me, where I drew Bobby Beausoleil and Gary Hinman with maggots coming out of him, if you bought this off of me and you framed it and you put it on your wall, and somebody asked you, who drew that? What would be the first thing you would say? You would say, and I would expect you to, Manson's best friend drew that for me. Because it gives it credibility. It's what you know me for anyway. You don't know me for art. You don't know me for any of that. You know me for what you know me for. And Bobby, sadly, we don't know you for the stupid movies that you did. They're dumb. You're only the equivalent of Sharon Tate, basically. The only reason that you're well known in them parts is because of the murders, sadly. Bobby says he regrets the killings back in 1969.
It was such a horrendous murder. He was
Bobby
tortured.
Beausoleil
Said at the parole hearing, this last one, that he regretted the murder. No remorse. I didn't hear that. I heard the word regret. And that doesn't
Gary's
do it
cousin,
for me.
she just doesn't want Bobby to be the next one out. That's all. And if you go to Bobby's page, his webpage, one of the first things it says on the page is free for all, free for all. And I thought, where did I hear that before? And it's like, yeah, that's a Ted Nugent song. It's a free for all. I don't want it. Yeah, well, anyway. And then it goes on to talk about courage. And it says, when all around you is in turbulence and the world seems bleak and at its darkest, remember, there's a light to guide your way. It's a safe harbor. What was that? Is that what Gary was pleading for when you killed him? Come on, man. Nobody wants to hear that crap. You're standing on the damn pedestal. It's all the website's a pedestal. You're standing on the pedestal. You want to separate yourself from the crimes. You should have thought about that before you did the damn crime. Then they talk about, I've heard the crime explained about 3 different ways on how it was done. None of them make any sense. Then you come out after Gary was dead to blame the poor guy as being a drug dealer. I don't know if this guy even gets it. So, do you think he should get out of jail? I don't have an opinion in it. I'm just going over the facts here, you know? And the facts seem like he seems like more of a celebrity than he does an inmate. That's what he thinks anyway. What's your opinion? I'm in prison and I want out. Prison's in the mind, man. Prison's in the mind. I'm in prison. I'm in prison. You're in prison. We're all in prison. You know what my prison is? My prison is procrastination. Yeah, it can become a prison all itself. You know what? I've got all this information here. For what? Myself? You know, most people collect information to share with people. But my prison is procrastination. I'm breaking out of that prison. Right now, today, I'm out. I'm going to start this thing. And I am going to get past whatever puts you in this procrastination. Maybe it's fear. Maybe it's fear of rejection. I don't know what it is. But I'm going to make this thing into a book. So today, I'm out of prison. Bobby? I don't know. So what prison are you really in, Bobby? I mean, your artwork's been on display in galleries in Los Angeles. You've been on television. You've been in the movies. You got your own internet movie database page. A lot of people they'd literally die for that stuff. But yet, you're in prison. Prison's in the mind, man. Prison's in the mind. You're not in prison. You're probably in the best place that you could possibly be. Help other guys in there. Teach other guys with your music. Teach other guys with your artwork. Teach other guys in there. A lot of people out here don't really need you out here to teach them anything. And that may be your prison. And this whole political thing, I keep hearing political. Yes, it is political. It's all political. Every bit of it's political from the day that you decided to sign political piggy on the wall. Whose fault was that? Who put themselves in prison? Did you know that Bobby has 2 of his songs featured in Lady Gaga's documentary? Yeah, but he's in prison. No, I'm in prison. I need to get this thing finished, so I'm off to finish this thing to get out of my prison of procrastination. And maybe one day I can have a book that I can say, here, you want to see my book? But until then, who's going to get out of prison first? Me or Bobby? I don't know. I'll keep you updated. Peace.